Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, the number one podcast in Colorado Springs.
Today, our highlighted sponsor is Franchise Succeed.
Love it. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Franchise Succeed, Andrew?
They help you succeed in your franchise. They help you grow and expand through your franchise.
Today, we have a very, very special guest, most because we go to their coffee shop almost every day. We love her. Amber Stoll, owner of Stir Coffee and Cocktails. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. We did a little bit of research, so we know you've had some history here in Colorado Springs, but start from wherever you want to start with for you and how you got into your industry.
All right. Well, I started in this industry when I was 15. I was a hostess on the border up on Briargate and Academy. And worked my way up, moved to California, worked on the border there, came back here. And that's when I finally went away from corporate and started doing like local places. I worked at Good Company for a little bit, Harry's for a little bit. Then I went down to Oscar's Oyster Bar. It was on Castilla and Tejon. And worked there for about 5 years before I left. And then I went into Supernova downtown. Went into business with Joe Campana. Went to work for him because I had known him from my Oscars days. He used to bartend at McCabe's.
Oh, really?
We would
Who's Joe?
drink
Who's
together a
Joe?
little bit. I like to call him the Godfather. So he's like, he's like the umbrella of all of the companies. He's either full owner or part owner and like all the places that we're a part of.
A big part of Colorado Springs.
Downtown Colorado Springs. Yeah, it's huge. So went to work with him at Supernova for a while. And then I went through my little moment of thinking I didn't want to be in this industry, which I think everybody does at some point, you know? So I started working from home, doing accounting, and I hated it because I'm a people person. So it was basically just an excuse to stay in my pajamas all the time, you know? So I did that for like 9-10 months. And then I actually approached Joe and was like, hey, have you ever thought about going into business with someone? Because I would like to open something and you have more money than me. So
he was like basically an investor in your idea.
Yeah. So we went in partnership and we opened Stir. We had been looking at a space downtown first and it didn't work out. And so we just kind of spent a couple months. And then he called me one day and he's like, hey, I just got a phone call from this person in this space. Have you ever been there? I was like, yeah, actually, it's a really cute little coffee shop. He's like, what do you think? And then it just happened.
That's the one by the
Bond Shopping Center. That's the original location, yeah.
Which is by the Safeway, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
What was it before that?
It used to be a Skelly station. So it was an old garage and gas station back in the day. But when we bought it, it was already called Stir. Her name was Sabrina. And she owned it for a few years. Super nice lady. She lives in Florida now. So we took over and we got the liquor license and we kept the name because we loved it. We just added coffee and cocktails to it so people knew it wasn't just a coffee shop anymore.
Yeah. How is that side of the business, by the way? Like adding alcohol to the business, does that change it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're a lot busier, obviously, because of that. But coffee's wild, man. I had never worked with coffee before, ever. And it's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it that I was unaware of that I now understand. But I'd never touched an espresso machine until the day we opened.
Wow. And those things are expensive.
Our
Especially
original
the
was like
industrial
18
ones.
grand. Yeah.
That's crazy. And did Joe bring that experience into like liquor license? Like I have no idea. I mean, I know it's expensive, but I would have no idea as far as a roadmap to, garnering a liquor license.
We have a lawyer that did it pretty much for us, but you have to get a survey done. So they'll go around to the neighborhood. Like, I can't remember what the mile is. It's like 2 or 3 mile radius.
Oh,
and
really?
you have to get a certain amount of signatures that say yes. And I think we had like a 98% yes, which was pretty great. But at the time, there was nothing else in the neighborhood. I mean, none of the stuff on Templeton Gap was there. There wasn't anything. So
Pretty residential area.
that area really wanted someplace to go close to their house to have a drink and not have to dress up and go downtown and you know what I mean? Or not have to go to like Fillmore bars, something like a little classier, but homey,
Yeah.
I think.
It's always been a classic Stir. Like whenever, I'm a big coffee person, as you know, but I always had friends, past 10 years or so, who have always wanted to go to Stir specifically for the coffee and cocktails like piece to it. And I thought you guys are pretty ahead of the curve as far as offering both. Because even just 10 years ago, coffee and cocktails was kind of a taboo thing, right? Like it was usually just a coffee shop or maybe just a bar, right? So were you guys one of the first ones just downtown-ish area to have that.
And now we're word from our sponsors. Planet Duct. So do you want to tell us a little bit about who Planet Duct is? Do you know who they are?
They do. What do they do, Andrew?
Air duct cleaning. Planet Duct is an amazing air duct cleaning company here in Colorado Springs. Most powerful vacuums.
Most powerful vacuums?
Vacuums are more powerful than the vacuum of space. Franchise succeed.
All right, so Franchise Succeed is a company that takes mid-sized businesses and they help them expand them nationwide.
Yeah, they help them become a franchise. A cool business for anyone who is looking to franchise their business and expand their business and scale their business. They have the resources that you need. Ron Burgundy and you're Christine Applegate.
Yeah, I love it.
Neon Pig.
Neon Pig Creative is a graphic design agency located in downtown Colorado Springs. They are artists, communicators, and lovers of our community. Their team provides branding, websites, design, and development, and print design with...
It's so good, guys. Check them out. Neon Pig Creative. They're great. They're located in downtown Colorado Springs, just by Brakeman's Burgers. It's a good spot. So check them out. They do really good branding.
Epic Eyewear. Epic Eyewear brings style and clarity with their affordable veteran-owned sunglasses. From polarized to sports eyewear, find your perfect pair with a lifetime warranty at epiceyewear.com. Redefine mortgages.
So this company pretty much caters to their first-time home buyers, low credit scores, and more.
That's true, they do.
Yep. So start your journey with redefinemortgages.com.
That's redefinemortgages.com. Exponential impact.
Andrew, this is a sick spot that you got here, my man.
Oh, I wonder what it is.
What is it?
It's Exponential Impact.
Oh, what is that, man? This is so cool.
Exponential Impact is a startup accelerator incubator who really helps tech businesses get the funding they need to really grow their tech company. Exponentialimpact.com.
I know, like the Bond Shopping Center, I don't know if there was anything like that over there. I know the Coffee Exchange, I'm not sure when they started
Oh, that's right.
alcohol. I know that like the Stir Downtown definitely isn't the first place, you know, I mean,
I know Coffee Exchange has had it for
they've had it for a while. I love that place too.
Yeah, that's a great spot.
It's a good spot.
I've lived in a bunch of different places, but I always harp on how great Colorado Springs and their coffee shops are. Like we have some really good ones.
True.
We have Stir, we have the Exchange,
Wayfinder.
Wild Goose, and all the ones on the west side. I mean, there's so many. There's Loyal, and the expansion of Loyal. As
Not
well as
only in
Story.
the southeast
I love
side, but they're
Story.
building one in the southeast side. Jules is building. She told me this vision like 4 years ago, and she's actually doing it right now. She got like funding to actually get it done, and one of her biggest gripes was like the southeast side doesn't have any good coffee shops. How can we like come together and build and grow? And like there's a stigma around the southeast side of town. It's like how do we build that? And so just want to throw that out there. Yeah.
Who's Jewel?
She runs she's been doing this like media stuff with 719. I don't remember the exact name specifically, but she's been just really like being pushing towards the southeast side of town and helping it grow because there's been. Are you a native out here?
I am.
Okay,
Actually.
yeah. So then you probably know.
Yeah, it's been like insane as far as the explosion of coffee, and there's always been some good ones that are not even around. Like I like the Java Punk. Was it Java Punk?
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, COVID knocked them out, man. That was one of my
There's
favorites.
some really good ones around town. What do you attribute to that? Because obviously you got into the coffee biz, and again, like I don't even know like the landscape. 10 years ago, there was coffee shops here for sure. What got you into doing a specific like coffee shop in a world or I guess a city that has a lot of them already and a lot of good ones?
No, I wish I had a cooler story for you, but honestly, it kind of just fell into our hands, and I'm a go-getter. I'll figure it out, which is exactly what we did, But I think a lot of it, you have to obviously have well-trained staff who know how to do coffee and cocktails both, which is kind of hard. Like when we hire people, I always say you have to have experience in coffee or you have to have experience in bartending because it's too much to teach it all at once, like
at least one of them.
yeah, you can teach one if they already know the other, but that's a lot of information to throw at somebody all at once. So, but I think a lot of it, like for us personally, is about the people there. You know what I mean? It's about your staff and your staff caring about you and then in turn caring about customers. And I think that's what the original Stir specifically has really built is a sense of community, you know?
Right.
And we have the same people that come there all the time. Like I've watched these kids grow up. I have a little girl that comes in to see me and I get her fake tattoos and she has me put them all over her arms so she can look like me. That's part of it, I mean, am I allowed to cuss yet?
No.
Yep.
No, whatever.
Like, even if we had
Ding, ding,
shitty
ding.
coffee, which we don't, you know, I don't think that it would matter because of the people. And
I
like,
think that's huge. Yeah, it really is. Because it doesn't have to be shitty, but it could just be like mediocre, and it would still be amazing. But as Marcus, so I think coffee is coffee. Marcus is a coffee. What is it?
Connoisseur.
Connoisseur, why not? Yeah.
yeah. Connoisseur. Let's just say that. And he does. He does talk about your guys' coffee as it being
thank
good. So
you.
he
Oh,
would
for
know.
sure.
like, I don't think we have shitty coffee. I'm just saying we could. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that
Exactly,
we would
yeah.
still have people there. You
I just
know?
wanted
mean,
to clarify that you guys have amazing coffee.
Thank you. A lot of my staff at that location specifically have been there for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, we're coming up on our 7th year. I have people that have been there for 6.
That's
Like-
nuts.
We have a lot of people that just have stayed.
How do you attribute your
awesome.
people skills? Because obviously you said you love people and accounting was like the farthest from that and you wanted to get back into the industry. And I always say business starts with people for sure. Like if you don't know people, you don't know business. That's a Simon Sinek quote. But it's true. And like people gravitate towards you. So what do you think that is? Do you think it's like a specific leadership quality, or you just think that you have the experience and you can take people under your wing and you like to mentor them?
I mean,
Unpack that.
I think that Joe Campana actually taught me something pretty important when I first started at Supernova, and that's just that you take care of people. You know, I mean, I remember back then, and I'll never forget this. This kid was working for us, and he kept being late. And Joe went up to me, he's like, "Hey, man, why are you always late?" And the kid's like, "Well, I have to ride the bus." And he's like, "Okay." And he went to a pawn shop and he bought him a bike, and he brought it back, and he's like, "Don't be late to work again, man."
I love it.
You know, like
Did
so.
that help? Do you think? Yeah.
I mean, for a while, but you know,
Yeah.
some people are just people. But I've
It at least
I've
motivated
taken
him.
that. You know, I've taken that, and it's like you want to be there for your people. You want to listen to your people. You want to, like when we do our menus, everybody has a chance to submit recipes in. Like we're listening to them. You know what I mean? And that's how we come up with our cocktails and stuff. We do a tasting, and what does everybody like? What do you think about this? What do you think we could do to improve this one? You know, and I think that having them have a chance to put their own input into things makes a big difference, but also just not being an asshole.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
You know, the restaurant industry has changed a lot. I mean, I grew up in this industry. I remember working in kitchens and getting screamed at, and you know what I mean? And now it's just not,
yeah, yeah.
it doesn't need to be like that. And I'm glad that we've come this way, you know, but I think Joe was the first person I worked for where I was like, oh, like people don't have to be jerks all the time. Like you can actually work for people that care, you know? His
Yeah.
biggest thing he always says too is I will never make anybody do anything that I don't want to do. So like we hire cleaning crews, you know, we offer insurance. We have like a lot of stuff that a lot of restaurants just don't do because we want our people to be happy. You don't want somebody to come to work if they don't want to be at work, you know? That doesn't help anything.
Yeah. And do you think before, like maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that people just didn't care about if people were happy at work or not?
Oh, yeah.
Just show up. to
Show up
work.
and do your job. I mean, I grew up corporate, you know, that's how I got in this industry. That's exactly how it is. They don't care about you. So it was a big difference, you know, switching into this and learning the other ways to go about things, you know?
Do you think everything's shifting that way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would hope so,
Yeah.
you know?
Me too. Yeah.
I think that there's, at this point, like people can go anywhere, you know what I mean? So the restaurant jobs are a dime a dozen. They're always hiring. So if you treat people like crap, they're not going to want to stay with you. They're going to leave, you know?
I feel like the younger generation isn't
They-
as
they won't.
tolerable.
No, they're
for
not.
That kind of stuff.
They are not. But they didn't get locked out of their house and have to drink out of the water fountain.
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
spigot, you know what I mean? So big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
We still got hit growing up, you know?
Sure.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that my dad raised me in a bar, okay? And there's a lot of things that are not good about that, but there's a lot of things that are actually really great about that. And I feel like street smarts was one of the top things I learned from that situation. I could get thrown in any situation and be okay. I don't know if I'm
Handle
going
it.
to thrive, but I'll be okay, like no matter what it is. And so I feel like even in the restaurant industry, it's probably very similar, bar, restaurant industry. Do you attribute that to some of your people skills? Just like you grew up in this, you said you started at 15. How do you attribute, you know, that experience to everything you've done with all your businesses now?
I don't know. It's just who I am, I guess, you know?
You do the dance, huh?
Like, I grew up, like, I was born here and we grew up, moved around a lot and then always came back. But I also used to be very, very shy. Like I would cry if people would talk to me. So my mom would wear a long jacket and I would hide underneath it. Like if people said, "Oh my God, your daughter's cute," I would really
Okay.
cry and hide under a coat. And I think I was like middle school when I finally snapped out of it and was like, "You're gonna have to talk to people eventually, Amber. Keep moving, you know." And then it turned into this, and that's
We're on film talking.
right. Still, I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna
I'm
lie.
sure. Yeah, no, we know it can be nervous for sure.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You're not the only one.
I think that that's part of the reason I turned into who I am. You know, I'm very outgoing, but I care about people. Like I want to know about your family, you know, I want to know about your kids. I hired my niece at Stir. She's bussing tables. I'm about to hire one of my girls' son who's getting his first job. I'm like, sure, bring him in. He can wash dishes, like whatever, figure it out, you know?
You're also authentically yourself. Like the moment I met you, you were talking about something like maybe like the night before or something like that. And I was just sitting at the bar, getting a coffee, and then you like came in there and there was like another mutual guy there, but I guess you hung out with him the night before. You guys were talking about the night, and like it was just hilarious, the conversation. But I'm not used to like an owner just coming in there and like being that comfortable, I guess authentic, of like just you are who you are and you don't care what other people think about you, and you're comfortable in yourself. Where do you think that comes from?
Oh man, being bullied as a child. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to be anybody but me, you know?
That's very hard for a lot of people. I mean, I would say 95% of all people don't have that skill. They have to put on some level of a front to be like, you know, get through the day of whatever, if they're having a bad day or whatever it might be, just to get through. But you're authentically yourself. And I think that's a really cool quality about yourself.
Everybody has bad days, you know? I'd rather tell people so they know why I'm grumpy. Like, I'm having a shit day, guys. So just letting you know ahead of time. You know? And I've done that numerous times before.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to.
Well, one of the funniest things about our first couple encounters, and this is hilarious, is that me and Edgar go in there all the time and we order lattes. And like the first time Amber took our order, she did the frother in the form of a penis and gave it to us. And she barely knew us at that point. I'm like, who is this? Oh, it's the owner. Okay, what is
Well,
this?
You got to read people, you know? You
Yeah.
know who you can do that to and who you can't.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely memorable.
And we go there every day like clockwork, and like she knew when we were coming because we work across the street, so we'd be waiting for the light and she'd just like see us and then she'd start making it, and by the time we even walk in there she'd have it ready for us, which is
It
like
was
the
a
most
fun little game I tried to play. I'm like, can I get it done before they walk in the door?
I love it. It just goes to like you have humor and you're authentic, and like that's awesome. That probably contributes to why people love working for you, to be honest with you, because you're real and you like to have fun. It's not so serious. You can't take life so serious,
Yeah.
even when you're in the restaurant industry, which can be very challenging, right? It's a very challenging industry. It's one of the highest fail rates of all industries, just because, well, there's a lot of different restaurants and the margins are a little bit slim. So like to have fun and enjoy whatever's going on, I think that's really cool, you know, because a lot of people don't have that skill set, you know?
I always tell my staff too, I'm like, people can go anywhere. You know, you can go anywhere for coffee and cocktail. Like, if they come in, they've got great coffee and they had a horrible experience, they're not coming back. So, like, you just
That's the
customer
shit-
service, right? Like, this is a customer service industry. So, you're providing customer service.
I think like restaurants and maybe even coffee shops, they get treated a little bit more unfairly by the public because what I mean is like you said, like if you have one bad experience, it's screw that place forever, and it's like they get a lot of that brute force like kind of going, and like I could see that happening. You get a lot of rude people, but also
Oh,
you
yeah.
probably get a lot of amazing people as well too.
yeah,
But yeah.
absolutely. The best and the worst, you know,
Yeah.
for sure. But
Yeah.
Is there any fun stories? I mean, obviously working at Supernova, that's a bar, it's a barcade. Is there
Yeah.
any like fun stories you're willing to share, I guess, of working there?
I actually had somebody that brought this up yesterday. They were like, "Are you the person who put that note on the jukebox about heavy metal?" And I was like, "Yes, I was." Because when we first opened, it'd be like 4:00 in the afternoon. There's kids playing, and these guys would come in and play heavy metal.
Yeah.
So I would skip it, and I put a note on the jukebox that said, "If you play heavy metal, it will be skipped because it sucks and it pisses people off."
Yeah, it's not the right mood.
And they were really mad at me, but they
Yeah.
also thought it was funny.
Yeah.
You know? Or whenever anybody would play Journey, and this, I don't know if you guys know Mike Stevens. He is in this industry for a long time. I worked with him at Supernova. He was one of my favorite people. But we would both do this. If somebody played Don't Stop Believing by Journey, we'd skip it and just scream, "Journey has other songs."
Nice.
Because they do have a lot of good songs, guys.
That's the go-to though.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it's the most epic whatever journey. Well, there's a lot of epic Journey songs too, to be honest with you.
I love Journey.
It's the only one I know.
It's like Queen. It's not the only one you know. Like
Yeah,
everybody knows
they
Smoke
Oh,
start
I know a lot
playing,
of
you're
Queen
like,
songs. I've just never been a big fan of Journey.
Yeah, I get. Yeah.
I do love that at Supernova, I can't even tell you how many people still will be like, you served me my first drink when I turned 21. I'm like,
Oh,
I
okay.
love that.
Nice,
How
yeah.
drunk did I get you? No, I'm pretty drunk. I'm like, awesome.
There's a whole culture behind it too, especially I mean, the downtown community. Like you guys seem like you're rather close knit, and like, I mean, we worked down there for quite some time, and like whatever happened, like all the owners would always like somehow talk to each other about what happened, or like a couple months ago there was a bunch of fires downtown, and like I went to Stir.
fun.
I don't even think it was from you, but it was folks that worked at Stir were telling me like kind of what really happened and like what the issues were, and it actually like it got us to interview Clay Ross.
That's the second fire. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
there
the
was
second
first
fire. Not the one that was
the
by
one
us, but the one
with
that was off
Icons
of
and-
Bijou. Yeah,
The
Wow.
first one actually like closed our businesses down.
both of ours, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did the second one close your business down too?
No.
Okay.
no.
Oh, it didn't even electricity wise or anything like that. Or?
No, we were good on the
lucky. Holy cow! Yeah.
When the Transformers blew up, we were out for a week because
Yeah.
our building was the last one
Yeah.
that they brought up, which was really
Yeah,
fun.
they didn't bring ours up for a long time. Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
sucked.
That was two big fires that happened within like a couple months span. It's crazy.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if we don't protect ourselves as business owners and have each other's backs, then who will, right? So, especially something like that, like with fires and like building community. We had Clay Ross on our show, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just like garnering like attention towards the matter, because there's, I mean, a lot of people just won't even know. Like I was talking to somebody the other day, they're like, what happened to Bambinos, or what happened to not Bambinos, a Skirted Heifer?
Oh,
And there was a
yeah.
car that
That
crashed
was
into it.
crazy.
Didn't
like-
Gilbert post about it? Like Gilbert was saying, like
He was
what
another
happened to
person.
Gilbert?
Yeah. And so it's just
I didn't even know. So
it's
a car.
insane. But we're like a close
through the
knit
front,
group.
yeah.
What did happen with that? Do you know?
I heard that there was a car going very, very fast and they just lost control and went straight through the building.
It pisses me off when people are going really fast downtown. I don't know why
Well,
you
there's
would
too
think
many
that's
people walking.
okay. Like that is so like disrespectful to everyone around you, and it's just like so dangerous. And like there's just people that cross the street, and like yeah, it's insane.
Well,
and it
there's a
happens
high
lot.
school there. There's,
Yeah.
all the people walking around. It's scary.
Yeah, and working downtown, it probably happens more on the weekends at night, I bet. But I'm
sure, yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, you can hear those. If you ever opened your window, like where we were at, like you could hear like cars honking. Like you at least hear a car honk at least once an hour, something like that.
It's a downtown, right?
Yeah, it is downtown though. Yeah.
Now a word from our sponsors.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care. Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care is a healthcare company. Do you know what they do?
Yeah, so you just pay a monthly subscription.
So essentially, they help you have better healthcare, more affordable healthcare.
Wow.
That's pinnacleapc.com. Fast Signs. Fast Signs enhances your business visibility with custom signs, graphics, and marketing materials. Discover innovative branding solutions tailored to your needs at fastsigns.com. Cars helping charities.
Cars Helping Charities. Donate your car and make an impact with Cars Helping Charities. Your donation supports various causes with easy free pickup service. Make a difference today at carshelpingcharities.org. And what charity are we going to use today?
We're going to use Mattersville.
Mattersvillevets.org, right?
Mattersvillevets.org. That's what we're going to use.
Absolutely. Check them out, guys. They are a tiny house community based in Sedalia, Colorado, but they have locations all over, including other parts of Colorado. I think they have Hartselle as well that they just set up as well. Kansas locations, Florida
Oh, yeah,
locations.
Kansas, the one, it's in Olathe. Olathe.
Oh, I didn't even know. That's a hard one to pronounce for sure. Check them out, guys. Edgar cracks me up. He's behind the camera right now, but he used to tell me, like, this is like when we're finally moving out of that building across from you. So, like, after a year
Say
being
finally.
there. Well, when we're just moving out of that building across from you, Edgar cracked me up because he's like, I just wanted to let you know, like every morning there's like a homeless lady that screams Marcus like at our building, and every day I'm
love
looking
that.
down at it,
What?
I'm like, what? Like they're screaming. I'm like, there can only probably be one Marcus in that building. I could be wrong, but like just fun, crazy little creature habits, I guess, of downtown Colorado Springs, and you know exactly what we're talking about. They're part of the character at this point, especially
Yeah,
because
it's part of the city.
of that corner that we're on, because we have fine dining in that corner, we have
Yeah.
clubs in that corner, we have coffee in that corner,
It's everything.
we have what's
Literally
it called?
the heart.
Rutledge's in that corner, and then we have the bus stop like right there.
Yeah.
And so we have so much of a
I know.
melting pot.
I love that the bus stop is right there. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some interesting ones for sure.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit more about the community of ownerships of people who own restaurants down there. and other business owners, because I feel like it's a tight knit community. And you were mentioning a bunch of names that we all know because we work down there, but like Joe and like a lot of other things. And there's a lot of activity going on down there. And it seems like a lot of people have a lot of other business owners' backs.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like we were talking about Mikey and Whistle earlier, Crystal, who owned T-Birds and District 11 and stuff. And I actually met Mikey when he first moved here, and Crystal wasn't out here yet. And I became very good friends with them before they even opened T-Birds. And they're just really good people. But it's the same, you know, we just text each other if anything happens. I mean, we got Phil Duhan right behind me, who I worked with at Oscars for years. He owns Burnt Toast.
Great place. By
Joe
the way.
Campana, my business partner. So he owns the Tiki Bar with Adriana, who's one of my very good friends. He owns Shame and Regret with Matt Baumgartner. He owns Cork and Cass with Lucas. Then he's got Rabbit Hole, Bonnie and Reed,
Yeah.
Supernova. Those three are his.
Basically all the biggest restaurants downtown.
Yeah. And then he's partnering with Megan, who was the manager at Supernova, and then Lucas again to open Crooked Q,
Okay.
That's the new
the
one.
pool hall, which is going to be open in May,
Oh, okay.
where the bookshop was, Tattered Cover.
Yeah.
I don't know why that name just left me. And then him and I also own Nova West on Colorado Avenue,
Which is in old OCC.
like 25th in Colorado. So it's Supernova, but on the west side.
Nice. Well, I haven't been there yet. I
What?
I love Supernova.
We have skee ball.
Oh, what? Skee ball? Nice.
You should probably get there.
Yeah, so I love Supernova.
And
Supernova
footlong
is
hot dogs.
amazing, and
Ooh.
but I've never been to the West one. So I wanted to. It's so if you were to compare the two, what would be the differences, if any?
I mean, I think just the clientele is a little different, you know, because West Siders tend to stay on the West Side.
And skee ball?
And like downtown, and skee ball. And footlong wieners.
Yeah.
We just put them on the menu. So whenever
Nice.
anybody
Okay.
eats
That was
them,
an Amber
I make them,
initiative. Yeah.
I make them hold it and I take a picture of them.
Nice. Okay.
Weird, I know. See,
Sucking
you
on
should have
a
brought me
chili
those cookies.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, Supernova I think has a lot more of like the college crowd too, and Nova West doesn't really get that very much, but
I could see that. Yeah.
it's still super fun.
Young professionals in OCC then probably, right? Like
Young professionals. The networking group.
an OCC Super Nova West. Is that the clientele you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
It's all over the place. It's just people who live on the West Side, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
just kind of how it's funny how Colorado Springs is like that. It's very separated into areas.
It's very
you know?
pocketed.
Like I grew up north and we never came downtown. Ever.
Exactly what I tell
Never.
Andrew.
Yeah. Him too.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
And so when the first time I ever came to Colorado Springs, it was just I was shooting a nature documentary that I was doing on YouTube, and we came here to like get some cool stuff, some shots of just the mountains and stuff coming from Kansas City because we don't have mountains there, and where we ended up like eating was OCC, and it wasn't by like choice or anything. It was just like that's just what happened. So I think maybe a lot of tourists end up in OCC. Is that
Yeah, probably. I mean, they have a lot of Airbnbs and stuff down there now
Yeah,
too.
just
Just
springs
there's
over
some
there,
stuff
too.
down there, you know. But it is like people from downtown hang out downtown. People on the west side hang out on the west side. People up north hang out up north. You know, it's just nobody seems to leave their area. It's weird. It's
we've
really
talked about that
strange
a
how
lot,
it
yeah.
works.
Very pocketed city. And the funny thing is, I grew up in Northgate, which had nothing freaking around back in the day.
I've seen the Google pictures. Yeah,
It was like literally nothing. We have to go down to Good Company would be it, and that was still like a 15. It was a 20-minute drive.
you would have to go down to Good Company, which is where the original was closer to where the
Or back
original store
east,
is.
back
Right?
Briargate and
Yeah.
Union. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
back east
Oh,
is
Good
probably
Company. I'm thinking
closest.
Good Neighbors. Okay.
No, Good Company is a big bar, and that's a pretty big staple in that neighborhood area. Is that kind of where you grew up in that sort of area?
Yeah. I was like there and over by Doherty, kind of.
So you guys probably went to the same high school then, huh?
Well, I live by Doherty now. I grew up in Northgate.
I went to
Oh, okay.
Rampart, but I graduated from Doherty.
I went to Pine Creek. So
My grandma's maiden name is Doherty. That's the only reason why I know that. So
yeah, I mean they're different. I mean they're north, but they're different areas.
Yeah.
Like so Briargate's completely different than say Northgate or whatever it might be. But like we used to have to go to Briargate to get to anything.
I remember when Powers wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
There was nothing. It was just field out there, you know.
Yeah. It's
Chapel Hills Mall had like a card store and a Kmart in it. I think that was about it.
Oh, that's right, the Kmart. That's right.
I remember there was a card. I used to buy my Pogs there.
Your what?
pods.
Pogs. Do you guys remember
Pogs.
Pogs?
Is it the W?
They had the slammers. It was like the little paper circle things, and they had the thick plastics, and you would hit them, and however many you flipped over, you got to keep. No,
No,
Nobody?
no.
How old are you guys?
I don't know. No,
33.
31.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
31.
Just kidding. You wouldn't remember this. I'm 40. But they were
Okay.
really cool, and you should probably look
Wow,
them up.
you look like you could be 31. So yeah.
Thanks. Good genes
Yeah.
and Botox.
I would not have guessed that. Yeah.
It works. It's fine. Do you think that the Springs is still a very pocketed city even today?
Yes, absolutely.
And why do you think that is? I have my own suspicions. It means a spread out. It's a big city.
It is a very large city, but I honestly don't know why it's like that.
Yeah.
And I grew up with it, It just seems to be a thing. I don't know if it's just that there's not a major quick way to get places, so they just stay in their little area.
Put
But
down in the comments below why you think that we're a pocketed city.
Well, downtown is starting to really grow a lot,
Yeah.
especially in the past 5 years. I mean, with Kawadi and that whole South End where Southside Johnny's used to be, where the Exchange used to be a smaller place. Now it's like this huge place. And they're expanding the South End of town. It's been really cool to see not only it expand north and south, but now it's expanding a little bit east, right? So there's definitely some things going on downtown.
all
And I
the
want to express that to our
apartments,
viewers of like,
condos everywhere.
I don't remember what the number was, but I think it's like 3,000 new units like going up like in the next 6 months.
In
this
5
year.
years, it's going to look completely different. I swear.
Yeah,
Right.
3,000 apartment units, and
They're
we
like
didn't even
mini
have.
Denver.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have an apartment built downtown until 2013. No, 16. So all within the past 8 years.
We had hotels, but not apartments.
Yep, no
Yeah.
new apartments that were built there. The first one was Blue Dot. That was like the first. I believe that was the first apartment that was from the ground up, rebuilt and served the city. And then they all started Casa Mundi, and all the ones started really coming up. And now it's like they're really banking on a lot of people using downtown and not only living there, but like walking to all the places downtown, which is good for you.
is
Those who are
great.
making investments for the
Yeah,
future
yeah.
there. And it's super, like, that's the thing I'm most excited about for your place, because it's like such a great intersection. Like we were talking about, it's a very interesting intersection, but there's so much potential for that intersection to be just booming, especially other than just like Cowboys and like the traditional bars, right?
Which makes it boom. Like Cowboys, all those
That
things.
little, like,
on the weekends.
little
Like,
club block.
yeah.
Yeah. So how has the first, gosh, are we a year and change since Stir Downtown has opened? How has business been for the first, like, call it 14 months or whatever it's been?
Very inconsistent.
Really?
Honestly,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
I think the other stir took off and it went
Really? Okay.
so quick, so fast. It was busy all the time, still is. The downtown has taken a little bit longer. I think we're starting to establish regulars and stuff, but I think for me it's hard because they say the restaurant industry, it takes 2 years before you know if you're gonna make it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, stir happens so fast. I'm like, it's been a year. Why aren't we packed all the time? You know what I mean? And I have to like step back within myself and remember that patience, Amber,
So true.
It's
so true.
been, I mean, it hasn't been horrible, but it has not been what I expected.
What's the
you know?
difference between the first location and the downtown one?
Location.
Okay.
Honestly,
Do you think it's
I
because
mean,
there's a
it's-
lot of residential area right
Yes.
next to it?
Huge.
Okay.
Well, and I think that also, I mean, like I talked about before, there was nothing in that area, so we had all those
Competition,
people
yeah.
right away. And there is a lot in that area now, but people still go there because they love it there,
You have like 4 or 5 other coffee shops that people can go to downtown. Like, yeah.
everywhere. So it's been harder than I expected, but getting better. I mean, every month is better than the last month. So that's all we can hope for.
And it's so
That's
roomy.
it's growth. Yeah, that's great.
And my big thing when judging coffee shops is a lot of different things. Good coffee is obviously the top of it, but like also like how comfortable it is to post up for the day if you're an entrepreneur like me and you're working from a computer. You guys have like big booth seats, really cool interior, black interior, but you also have your plants and you partnered.
Hapke's Hortum. Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. So tell us a little bit about them too, because they're like it's like a like consignment, or what do they do over there for you?
So yeah, we sell their plants. They come and help take care of it, and we do a split based off of what it is. But Hapke's Hortum is actually right next to Nova West on Colorado.
Oh, cool.
And it's my best friends, Lauren and Clay, that own it. Lauren actually, she also owns Ren Creative, and she does photography. And I don't know if you guys
I've heard of
seen
Ren
any
Creative,
of like
She's a
the
brilliant photographer.
Playboy things she's been doing.
No, I have not.
Oh, they're really cool. She's doing boudoir photo shoots with like a Playboy background because she collects vintage Playboys. We get them at estate sales. And then she made this whole background drop. It's really, really sweet.
Oh, I think is it the Playboy covers, right?
Yeah, with all behind them. And there's
It's like the retro ones, like the cool looking
Yeah.
retro ones.
Yeah, we
That's
do
cool.
collaging too. Playboy collaging with like 60s and 70s Playboys. It's super fun.
I've seen her. I've heard her name around town. I don't remember specifically exactly where, but I do recognize the
She's
name.
amazing. She's a very talented human.
Well, those photos are unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we're surrounded by photographers everywhere.
Right.
You know, Andrew and Edgar behind the I mean,
Today, right now.
Yeah,
She
literally
is
right
a
now.
very talented photographer, for
Was
sure.
she up at who was up at Bread and Butter posted up? Was that her?
That was her, yeah.
Oh,
She
okay.
Her office used to be above that.
Oh, cool.
Then she had her dog had some surgeries and she was having to work from home, so she ended up just letting the office go.
Yeah. Well, that was our big thing too about being downtown, and it was mostly my initiative. Was like, I want to be down there, but I felt like, and this is just my gripe, of course, is like the landlords downtown. Some of the older school landlords there just don't keep up with the upkeep of the buildings, and it drives me crazy
But
because
they
again,
want
the
a
fires that we had the fires and things were shut off or
Most
things were
likely
doing
because of not upkeep.
yeah, we have watermarks on the ceiling. They're like, yeah, we ain't gonna fix it. Or like a doorknob's like falling off. I'm like, dude, these are like simple, easy things to upkeep. And I feel like there needs to be, I don't know, a little bit more investment in the city rather than just the people who rent out and lease out spots there, like
Yeah.
us, business
Cabinets
owners
falling
and
off
stuff
the
like that,
doors.
you know? And so that drives me a little bit crazy of like, okay, we're investing in the future here with our businesses. Like the least you can do is invest in like the infrastructure of these buildings.
Space, yeah. Especially when you bought it 30 years ago.
Yeah, because there's a lot of
yeah.
And you're renting it for a lot of money.
Yeah.
the guy that you know, I think is Joe. Like he owns a lot of businesses downtown, but there's a few other big players downtown that own a lot of the buildings downtown that have seemed to kind of neglect it a little bit.
Well, I think part of like our block too has some new ownership on that side where like Tattered Cover and Tiki and Bloom and all those places are. And they've been doing a lot of remodeling in those buildings, which is great.
Yeah, the Munchies guy, he said he spent like $300,000 just remodeling that building. Like,
What is his name? We just call him the Munchies guy. I don't remember his name, but
I mean, that's who he is. You know, Bob's Burgers. You know, but Munchies Burgers, or I don't know. Anyways, yeah. He was talking about how he spent like, yeah, it's been rough for him because he had to have so much investment of restoring
To start.
the
Yes.
building.
And then
Yeah.
it takes so long to make your money back, you know? But that's part of this industry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's part of the business. Yeah.
when I
And we
go
love
to-
talking about business.
when I go to bigger cities, I tell Edgar this because we used to do our walks around town. So, by the way, just before I get into that, when we walk around town, we have to walk away from Stir because we're afraid sometimes that you're going to make us a coffee. And we're like, I just want to
Oh,
go on
yeah,
a walk.
You're avoiding me?
So I'm like, let's walk that way. So Amber, like, we don't just pass Amber. And she's like,
Wow.
dude, what the heck? Like with the coffees.
They would feel bad if you made the dick coffee.
Yeah.
And
Which
then-
I've been known to have like 2 or 3 lattes in one day and all that, but I'm trying to cut back a little bit.
Fine.
But when I walk around town, I look at a lot of the restaurants, a lot of the bars, and one of the ones I love about. So I lived in Fort Collins. They have a big night scene there, or like Denver. Like I love that like pool hall, exposed brick kind of atmosphere. Like
Yeah,
you
I
go
love
in
that
there, you
too.
chill, you play pool, or maybe it's like a little bit more of an upscale pool hall. I love that as opposed to even just the dive bars I grew up in.
Yeah.
And so I love what you said. Joe's opening up there, and it's called like the Crooked Q or
Crooked Q,
Crooked
yeah.
Q, yeah.
yeah, that's
Sounds
gonna
like a
be
bad
awesome.
Republican.
He's gonna have like I don't know anything about pool, guys. I'm not good at it. Sometimes if I'm drinking like
yeah.
just enough, I'm perfect at it, and then I'm bad again.
Yeah.
But
It's like bowling, right? So yeah.
I know he's real excited because he's really into pool. He does pool leagues, like goes to competitions all over the place. But he's getting like the really big tables, which I don't know what the
Regulation
sizes are.
tables or whatever,
So
yeah.
he'll have like the normal size ones other people have, but then he has the bigger ones, and like he's got what a lot of places don't have any of those here.
Okay,
You know,
yeah,
for you
yeah.
to be able to play on. So, like I said, I know nothing about it. He'd be the person to talk to you about that, but.
yeah.
I like pool, but I don't know. About, like, I'm not deep into it.
No.
I know some people are like, especially in probably the bar industry. Like, you can see a lot of like the leagues that come through the bars, right?
Yeah.
Right. Is that correct? Because I know that there was a bar in my hometown where like they had this whole league and like it was like a big part of the bar industry. I think pool and bars go hand in hand.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that a lot of them though, like those are going to be your little divey places. You know,
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
anywhere like this that's coming. So I think it'll
Oh,
be
okay, I
nice for
get what you're saying.
downtown. Like they're all more divey, still smell like cigarettes. You know,
Yeah. I guess the biggest
which I
compar-
love. Don't
me
get me
too, yeah.
wrong. Like
Tony-
I love
Tony's
those
is
bars.
awesome.
Those are my. I go to
Yeah.
those bars more than anywhere else. But
Those are the ones I'm most comfortable in. 'Cause,
Same.
Yeah, like we're just talking about good company. It's like one of those places, right? Neighborhood dive bar kind of vibe of it as well. But like the only competition I would, or I guess similarity I would say would be probably like Phantom Canyon
thinking
or
that.
something
Yeah.
like that, right?
They
Yeah.
have the whole floor for that. You know, like it's called
Yeah.
the Miller's floor or something like that.
Yeah, and it's pretty busy on the weekends.
Yeah,
It's
it
a known
is.
place. It's not necessarily near anything. I mean, it's downtown, but it's kind of its own corner.
It's historic.
It's a historic one of the older historic buildings downtown. and it does very, very well. So Joe might be onto something, and that's cool because
Joe used to work at Phantom Canyon actually.
got a little, yeah,
20
okay.
years ago. Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it's going to do very well. And I love seeing those new places going up in that specific area downtown because there's just been so much new blood down there. Like Tiki's right there. Like there's so many good Bell Brothers Brewery. There's so many good, like, and I want to, like, every time that we were down there, we had friends we brought up from whatever part of town we're from. They're like, oh my gosh, there's all these different places. And I think there's a misconception of the Springs downtown and what it was 5-6 years ago.
It's very different.
And it's starting to change a whole lot, right? And so, can you speak? I mean, you've kind of spoke to it a little bit about like all the new ownerships changing hand and opening up different places. Why do you think there has been so much new blood moving into downtown Colorado Springs now to open up new restaurants and new bars and whatever?
I think that, you know, I mean, a lot of people I think are coming down from Denver because it's like how a lot of people from here are going to Pueblo, you know, I mean,
Right.
things get so expensive
Yeah.
and you just can't do it. But then I think that some of those Denver companies are like, oh, wow, like this many people moved to Colorado Springs last year. Like we need to start doing that, you know? So I think that's where a lot of those people have come from, but also, I don't know, man. I think that we all work together pretty well. And there's been a lot of people, you know, down there that's like, hey, can I ask you a question? I'm like, absolutely. And so we all help each other a little bit, you know, and send people to each other. And it's the time. I mean, everybody knows that all those places are going up, you know, so more
Right.
people are going to
Yeah,
be down
yeah.
there. And you might suffer for a year until everything's up, but it's going to be busy, you know?
Yeah. And there's a lot of new like mom and pa's more specifically, as opposed to like a lot of the bigger blocks. Like Old Chicago used to be down there. It's not no longer down there.
Old Chicago used to be downtown?
Yeah, it used to be Oscar Blues.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. Oh shoot, that might have been
was
before you
huge.
came.
It
But
was,
yeah, yeah, that's really cool. I mean, we want to have a flavor of our town. So when I lived in Fort Collins, everything had its own character. You walk in, you're like, I've never been in a place like this is a dive bar, but I've never been in a dive
Everything's
bar like this.
different,
Yeah. And so it's so cool to see. I love that part of our city, and I love seeing that new blood move in there. And what you guys are doing is so special. There's a saying though, with people like you who are pioneers, they say pioneers get slaughtered and settlers prosper. Meaning like the pioneers are the ones who give everything, but they're the ones who get beat up the most because they're
got all the
they're
arrows in the
pushing
back.
things forward that have not been done before.
Yeah.
And then, you know, someone who moves in 5 years from now when there's another 3,000 new units at Colorado Springs and they just happen to not do coffee so well or whatever, but they might get lucky because now there's a thriving, you know, community
Area,
down there
yeah.
of, you know, a bunch of young professionals, whatever it might be. And so there's got to be a lot of kudos to supporting small business downtown is what I'm saying to you. It's so inspirational to see what you guys are doing. That's why I've always wanted to support you guys. I'm like, I love this place. It's a great place to post up, great vibes, great people. It's just been awesome. The team, and is that team from the original Stir, or is those all new hires, or?
Cody, our head kitchen guy, he came from the other stir, but everybody else is new.
Oh, wow.
So just gotten lucky, you know?
Yeah.
And we had some great people when we first opened too. And, you know, one left because of school and like things like that. We just changed our hours and like modified things. So some people left because
Yeah.
that didn't work with their life, whatever. But we've got good people, you know? I think that's really the biggest thing.
But as a restaurant owner, you kind of just have to calculate in turnover, right?
Yeah. I mean, it happens.
It's gonna
for
happen.
sure.
Yeah.
You got to be able to go cook and you have to be able to go bartend, you know? I mean, that's just part of it. But
Do you find yourself
what we
having
do.
to fill in a lot of spots?
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I fill in all the time.
So owner operator, like you operate
Mm-hmm.
like a lot. Like you're a big part of what makes it go. What gets
No,
the
yeah.
shit
I'm
done.
in there all the time.
Yeah.
But there's like a whole team behind us,
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure.
like I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
because there's so many of us now all together. Like my sister actually works for the company now and she's kind of our HR, like area
Oh,
director for everything
Mm-hmm.
because Hannah and Joe are working on this new concept, you know, and that takes
Mm-hmm.
a lot of time. So she's taken over that and overseeing and like we just go back and forth and help each other, you know, which is
Yeah.
How do you handle
Really nice.
handle that? Like what does it look like, I guess is my question, is dealing with employees and like as like managing employees and how to either retain employees or just like what is that like? Just for anyone who doesn't know, who has been an employee their whole life, like what does the opposite side of that look like?
it's exhausting,
Yeah. I bet I could see that.
you know, but I think that goes back to what I said before. I mean, you take care of people, you know, and hope that they are the people that you want there, you know, and when you lose people, they're usually people that you needed to lose. So I know that I personally, I think that I make emotional connections with people and my staff. And so I probably put up with things that I shouldn't sometimes, but I will never change that. You know what I mean? I'll never stop getting to know people and caring about them. So it's hard. It's stressful. You know, therapy's great,
Yeah. Nice.
but
It's all good.
What's the top cocktail? Because I recently stopped. I guess I stopped drinking. I just decided to do sober October, and I haven't drank since, which is crazy.
wow, that's awesome.
But when my girlfriend and I used to go, and then she quit. Well, she stopped too. She loved the espresso martini you guys had. Oh my gosh, it's good. What is your guys' top selling cocktail
yeah.
right now?
Dorian Black, probably.
What is that? Yeah.
It's a black walnut old fashioned.
What? Okay. Well, my favorite is an old fashioned. That's my go-to.
The guy that worked for us at the original Stir, who helped open it, Fernando, he made that one up, and it's stayed on our menu ever since because everybody loves it so much.
Black walnut, so it's got like a wood taste.
It's like black walnut bitters. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
it's very good.
Are you a whiskey person or what kind of?
Depends on my mood.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm a big tequila, like margarita in the summer. Like I have to have a margarita on the patio in the summer, and then probably every other time, if I really want to drink, it's going to be a whiskey or an old fashioned or a whiskey ginger ale or something like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how.
Ginger ale, ginger beer. It's always good. Mm-hmm. But I can't do margaritas anymore because they mess my stomach up because I'm old.
Oh, really?
Not that I dislike them. I just can't drink them anymore.
Is it the tequila or is it like
it's the
everything
sour,
The sugar.
like lime.
else? Gotcha.
Yeah, my body doesn't like it anymore.
I'm getting some things like that in my life, being 30. So,
Yeah, once you turn 30, it gets worse. Just gets worse every year. Your body just starts to tell you to hate other things more and more. So it's really fun.
I get you. Yeah. I can see that.
Oh my gosh.
It's happening.
So we are in year one. I mean, we just finished year one with Stir. So what are you hoping for the next year in Stir? Because you said it takes traditionally 2 years to wait to see what's going to happen with the restaurant. What's your hopes for this year?
I mean, I hope that we get to expand our hours again. I hope that more people come in there. I just hope for the best. I hope for making more jobs for more people. We can expand hours and we can hire more people on, and that's what it's about. That's why we do it.
How can we help with that? Like, how can anyone help with your guys' growth, especially us? Like, we'd love to help you guys.
Come in.
Okay.
Let me put a dick
That
on your
walnut-
coffee.
I want to dig on my walnut old fashioned.
Ooh, that's gonna be hard to do, but I'll figure it out.
Not a real dick.
I'll buy some on Amazon. I'm sure they sell them.
Oh my gosh. And then there was the dragon sticker that you guys had there too, right? That little dragon sticker. You know what I'm talking about.
It's a dragon sticker.
Yes, it was like it was like a dick sticker too. It was something about you in that. It's the most hilarious thing for me, but it was like a dragon.
Are those dragon earrings?
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
it's the year of the
snakes.
dragon.
It's a
Those are
snake.
snakes. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was some sticker or something. No, maybe it wasn't a sticker. It was something that you guys had that was like a prop. You guys would move in different places.
Which one? I'm trying to think.
Gosh, I didn't know there was more than one. I don't know, but I just
had
think
my
it's hilarious.
Duckling there.
I'm just glad to be part of the inside jokes at Stir. That's all, so everybody knows.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, what is it? I had a taxidermy squirrel that was flipping you off there for a minute.
Nice.
Wow, you and Andrew would be best friends for sure. Andrew's like, did we just become best friends?
You want to do karate in the garage?
Yeah.
What about for Nova West? Like, what do you hope for it? I mean, it's relatively new as well.
Yeah,
for
we've
this
been
year?
open 2.5 years now because that one we started and then COVID hit, so it just sat there for a year with all the games in
I
it
do remember
empty,
that,
which
yeah.
is sad. But Nova West is honestly, we're doing great. We've been busier and busier all the time, which
You
is
said
awesome.
you're a part owner in that? Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah,
What
both
about
Stirs and
the-
the Nova West.
Okay, but not Nova.
Supernova, no.
Nova, okay.
That one's just Joe and Hannah.
Okay.
That's his wife.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, I mean, Nova West is killing it, man. We've got territory days coming up, which
Oh,
is
man, yeah.
always really fun.
What is that? I'm not a native.
What? You don't know what territory days
I
is?
think I might know it. I don't know.
They like close down all of Colorado, and they have it's like a big fair almost.
a
They've
street,
got
like OCC.
it's like a street event. Yeah, so they'll
I
have
think I
vendors
remember it
out
last
selling
year, yeah.
things.
Was Levi Harris? Is that where he got the idea for the mustache thing? He told a story
Probably,
about it.
yeah.
I think,
I mean, it's 100,000 people that show
Yeah,
up for it.
and they've got bands that play, and they've got like beer gardens, and
Okay.
it's a lot of fun. But it's crazy,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
crazy.
I think I do remember. Like I, when you said it, I was like, it sounds like something I know of, but I wasn't sure, so I still had to ask the questions.
We used to have Spring Spree too.
Oh,
They
that's
stopped
right.
doing that because then they moved it to the park. I don't think it ever really picked up, but
Spring Spree.
Oh
it was
my
kind of the
gosh.
same event because there was just 2 a year. It was
That's
Territory
a
Days and
story
Spring Spree.
About Spring Spree. So
Okay.
John Eddie took it on for America the Beautiful Park. It was awesome. I was a vendor there, you don't know too much about me, Amber, but I do tiny house festivals too. It's like my main,
What?
yeah, crazy. But I was doing my first year on my own, and John Eddie was doing spring spree. He's like, let's just give you a spot for free or whatever. I was like, thanks, man.
Nice.
And so I set up a canopy there, and you haven't met my nephew, but you'd probably love him. He's like the most spazzy, ADHD, crazy human, but he's like so loving and amazing, but he's kind of a spaz. And so I'm sitting there at my vendor booth, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I see someone who might sponsor the show. So Travis, hang out here. Don't get distracted. I'll be back in like 5
You
minutes.
told someone with ADD not to get distracted.
Yeah, exactly right. You have to tell them that though, for sure. I walk over and I'm talking to the sponsor and I'm chatting it up, and like the sponsor's looking at me like you, and I can see Travis like beyond his shoulder, like maybe like 50 yards away, and a huge gust of wind picks up.
Oh no.
Oh, geez.
And the canopy like takes up off the ground, and it's like 30 feet, like the whole canopy. And then like we had a little like canvas of like a big poster canvas of the festival, and you see him chasing it like everywhere. And I can't do anything
Poor
because I'm
thing.
trying to talk to the sponsor, trying to close. I'm like, oh yeah, this and that. This. I just see
Got
my nephew
close to
running 50 yards behind me and just like going crazy about, it's just the funny. That's my memory of Spring Spree, just so we're clear with that. Okay.
Like that. Yeah, I mean, what was the last year they did Spring Spree? I don't even remember.
That might have been the last year, I think, but that was like 2018. At least that was the year I did it. So yeah, there's a lot of great events. And not only that, the West Side has a lot of like cornerstone amazing places too. Thunder and Buttons, got Mother Muffs. It was like, Meadow Muffins before that, right?
Yeah, and then Mother Muffs.
Yeah.
Front Range Barbecue, which is
Front Range
awesome.
Barbecue, yeah.
Jake and Telly's.
That's a good
Jake
one.
and
Yeah.
Telly's.
Alchemy. Westside Cantina. There's a lot of good places over there.
It's like their own. It's like its own city down there, right? It's
It
like
really
a different
is, yeah.
homey community
Ooh, and
vibe.
Paravaccini's.
It's literally called
Can't
Old
forget
Colorado City.
Paravaccini's, you know.
That's Italian, Paravancini's. Oh yeah.
There's,
so
there's
many
a good
good
Indian
places.
restaurant down too. It looks like a house. It's like built out of a house.
Which
But it's
one?
it's I don't know which one specific.
Sherpa.
Sherpa.
I was like, Sherpa?
But it's crazy because it's like you're walking into like a house almost, but then you get in and it's like it's like built like a restaurant. Like it does not look like a house inside.
One of my favorite breakfast places is Mountain Shadows, and it's the same.
think
It's in a
that's
little
the-
house. Yeah.
I think that's when I first came out here. We went there. Like when I was saying we went to OCC, like, that's where we went. I think specifically. I was like, this is
like
like a little
Mountain
house. It's
Shadows.
cute.
If you're new to Colorado Springs, there's so much to see, right? We're talking about West Side. We're not even talking about the Rock Rim end of town or anything like that. But if you're new to Colorado Springs, obviously check out Stir, both locations, Supernova, both locations, both of which have locations downtown and then spread out a little bit more. But what are other good spots for people to hit up that someone brand new moving here, beginning of spring of 2024 would
I think
go to?
you got to eat at the Rabbit Hole,
Yeah.
obviously, just because it's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. That's where I went first. Yeah,
503 West. I
Yes.
love 503 West. Obviously, Shame and Regret, Cork and Cass, if you want like a fancy cocktail, you know. Shame and Regret is fun because they have all their names like Ball and Chain, for their drinks and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a fun place. Tiki Bar, obviously. I like Bloom also. I don't know if you guys have been to Bloom. It's real pretty. They have like a swing in there, and it's
My
really
friend
pretty.
Coulter is a part owner or owner.
Oh,
over there.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Stefan. Also, I've known him for years and years. He used to work at Copperhead Road.
Oh my gosh. That's a great place.
Back in the
yeah.
day. It's a little
Supernova's
off the beaten
cool, too.
path, but Supernova's awesome. I think T-Birds has great tacos.
I love
you know,
T-Birds, yeah.
I love white pie.
Oh, I've never been there yet.
I don't think I've been
They
there.
have a
I've been
pizza
there.
that has mashed potatoes on it. So
What about In-N-Out?
Drifters.
Yeah. Bingo Burger?
Yeah,
Drifters
Bingo
actually
Burgers,
has been there for a long time, and they're very similar to In-N-Out.
yeah, they're like
yes.
the.
Okay, yeah.
Have you ever had one of their burgers?
In-N-Out?
No, Drifters.
Oh no,
It's on Garden of the Gods, it's like right past the freeway.
I don't think I have
It's the
that.
same. It's like burgers, fries, shakes.
I love Bingo Burger. I
they're
love Skirted
local.
Heifer. So I do love two of those, but I haven't heard of Drifters yet.
You
so,
should,
yeah.
It's like a little drive-through. They have a little inside, but it's more of an In-N-Out kind of style, you know. But it's local and it's been there for a very long time.
Yeah, nice.
So
I think they had a
check them
location
out.
up by the mall back in the day too, but I don't even know what's going on in Chapel Hills Mall. But there was a Drifters over there too. So they had.
Yeah,
another
they did
location.
have one. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, remember the whole pocketed thing. Can't tell you the last time I went over by the Chapel Hills Mall. Honestly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you grew up somewhat close to it.
Yeah.
Right?
And I just don't go that direction anymore.
Yeah. Where do you go now? Like, where are your hangouts? I'm sure some of these were part of it as well, but
I love Vultures. So I live more in like the Nob Hill area. So I'm just outside of downtown. But Vultures is
It's
right
a
next to the
music
Black
bar, a
Sheep.
venue, right? Yeah.
And it's a music venue, but they do smaller shows than the Black Sheep. But
Yeah,
they've got
yeah.
like, I've seen some great country artists and stuff there. They also do karaoke on Tuesdays, which is where I'll probably be tonight.
No, it's okay. Yeah, Black Sheep actually surprisingly has some very like.
They've got some great shows there.
Big shows.
Dude, I've seen
like,
Modest Yahoo there. Saw Jimmy Eat World
Yeah.
there. Atmosphere.
Nice. Okay.
Seen all
Tech
kinds of
Nine.
people there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Saw
Tech Nine
there.
there. Tech Nine,
Freaking Tech
he
Nine.
likes to go
Twice.
to Sunshine Studios now. I think I noticed
okay.
that because I
Mad
can
Child.
literally hear it from my room in my house because that's how close I am to Sunshine. When they do like parties, I literally thought someone was throwing a birthday party down the street, and I was like, "Who's fucking being so loud?" And I realized it's way over there.
The only time I've ever been to Sunshine, this is embarrassing, guys, but I'm going to tell you anyways. I had to do it for science, okay?
Science.
I went and saw Corey Feldman.
Okay.
Do you know who Corey
Yeah, yeah,
Feldman?
yeah.
Like because he had this Angels and Demons band that he started, and I was like, I have to.
okay.
Like, I have to. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, but it was it was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's the
okay.
only time I've been to Sunshine Studios.
Yeah, I've never been there, but I live right.
Steel
right
Panther's going to be there soon.
You must be 40 or something because I don't know who.
Still That's an epic name. Oh my gosh.
Is that an 80s band?
No, they're not from the 80s.
They're
They're like, you should probably just look them up.
Okay.
I don't want to say it on
Post
here
it.
what kind of stuff they sing. It's super inappropriate.
Steel
I actually had
Panther.
somebody at Supernova one time. Somebody played Steel Panther on the jukebox, and I had a table tell me they were leaving because our music was offensive. So that's
Oh,
how
so Steel
Panther
Panther is like, okay, yeah, they're just controversial kind of artists.
Yeah.
That's good. Nice.
Yes.
Reminds me of the cologne from Anchorman. What was it called? I don't remember the. You know what? Paul Rudd. He has like crazy cologne.
Yeah.
It's, like,
What
it's
is it?
illegal in 5 countries. Or whatever he says. Steel Panther. It's something Panther or Cougar or something.
Oh,
Like
I knows.
that. Well, awesome. That's
Yeah.
pretty. That's a great little, good little, I guess, directory. And it's funny because a lot of people here don't know of those places, which blows my mind. Do you ever come across people like that too, who are in their pocket
All the
area?
time.
You're in Nob Hill now. People from Nob Hill, they might not know of like what Atmosphere up off Interquest or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you come across a lot of people who just don't have the
All the time. I have people that walk into Stir downtown all the time. They're like, when did you guys open this location? I'm like, a year ago.
Yeah, I can imagine there's a lot of people just in town that haven't been downtown for a year or 2
Yeah.
years, 3 years, maybe.
True.
You know, so
Yeah, it's going to change a lot for you. I definitely, because those apartments coming up, and once they get filled, it's going to be a different atmosphere
It's
down there.
going to be nuts, I think.
Yeah,
me too. Yeah,
I
like
was-
all 3 of them are however many they're building.
They're going up quick, too.
I know.
Are they the ones on, is it Wasatch or Weber? I was driving down the other day and I was like, oh my God, it's like already almost done.
Yeah, I want one of them. I'm gonna move. No,
Yeah,
I probably
you
will.
pay 3K
I,
or
hope,
more
I was
a
going to say,
month.
I hope you make a lot of
Yeah.
money.
That's why I'm interested.
They are
to
not
s-
cheap.
I assume it's
I'm curious to see who moves in them. Is really what I'm seeing, because obviously young people. And,
gonna change the.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to see, because I've seen a lot of baby boomers live in like the May or like
Yeah.
303. So I'd be very, very curious to see who comes out of it, which is not a bad thing for you either way. All of them are going to drink
Yeah.
coffee, right? So it's just a matter of like laying down your roots and then knowing once that time comes, they're just going to walk over. But I remember when you first opened up, a lot of people said that same thing about your location. Like, oh my gosh, I thought it was a sushi place or
It
whatever.
was.
It was
R-
before.
R&R or what
it
was
was
it?
Bonnie and Reed Sushi, yeah.
B&R sushi or whatever.
It didn't last very long, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
but-
COVID played a big part of that, though.
Yeah, it was more about finding people that could work there that were
Right.
going to be good.
Skills. It's a more of a skilled
Sushi
trade.
rollers, I think, are just a little bit harder to come by, But he had some people in there that just were not.
Stickle, right? He does.
Everybody's sticker. Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't working,
Well, Bonnie and Reed is amazing. I always went there, and
They have the
especially
best
for lunch.
prime rib.
Yes.
Have you ever had their prime rib on Friday and Saturday night?
Oh yeah.
The horsey sauce is
What did we
ridiculous.
have? We had the French dip sandwich. Shout out
I
to
love
everybody
French
behind
dip.
the cameras.
I
Their
That's
prime
me.
rib French dip is awesome.
Yes, it's such a cool spot, because again, you have Rabbit Hole, you got Bonnie and Reed, you got Stir, all right there, like the same building. It's just, it blows my mind, and I just think that like it's a matter of time you guys are gonna be packed to the brim. And like I remember the St. Patrick's Day parade this past year, and I just remember that I'm like, I can see the whole parade from inside Stir. This is probably not gonna happen much longer, whether it's not this year or the next year. You're just not, because that was like prime location for the parade. You
Oh
just,
yeah,
like, you
when we
guys
had
are-
the Pride Parade was crazy there,
really.
crazy.
Do you guys make a lot of money those days?
Yeah,
I bet,
yeah, they're busy days.
Yeah. And it's just such a good place. It's just, I'm excited. I mean, I know I would talk about Stir the most because it's the place I love the most, but like I've loved Supernova. I haven't been there in several years, but I had many good times at the barcade.
Got lots of memories there.
Yeah,
and I've
I-
only been here 5 years. So.
I grew up go to Nova West now too.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally. And I love arcade games. I remember going to, I don't know if you remember this or if your parents were as corrupt as mine, but I used to go to Cripple Creek and play the arcade. They used to have arcade games at Cripple Creek for the kids. So my parents were like, "Oh, look, kids, there's games, there's arcade." And
While they were
used there for like
gambling.
8 hours, yeah, or longer to go, gamble, and they come back after whatever and give us more change and we play arcade games. But I grew up playing, those games.
Yeah,
So when I
yeah.
went to Supernova, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's
You actually
awesome."
don't find yourself playing the games that much when you're with friends, apparently. I mean, not apparently, but when I go.
Yeah.
So if I go by myself, I'm probably playing Galaga.
Right.
but when you're with friends, it's actually kind of the machines are just there and they look cool, Yeah. I love it though.
Ambiance. There's ambiance at that point.
Yeah.
We actually at Nova West have a Donkey Kong Pauline edition. Do you guys know about that one?
No, I don't think so.
So it was like early 80s, and a game developer, his daughter, they would always play together. And she asked him how she could play as princess. And he's like, he's like, I didn't know what to tell her. Like, I didn't have a good reason. So he created this game,
That's
which they
awesome.
ended up buying, where the princess saves Mario.
Oh wow.
So
Oh,
it's
so
the Pauline
vice versa,
edition.
yeah,
Yeah. It's pretty sweet cabinet game.
It's at what, Nova West?
Nova West, yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Clip that.
I remember that. Go over there.
No, I think that's great. Yeah, because that's kind of like a unique kind of selling point.
Yeah.
Kind of what you guys got. Like
It's really fun.
yeah. Is that like a limited edition kind of?
Yeah, they didn't make a whole lot of them.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I like that. I love video games. I'm
it's a fun game to play. Somebody the other day was like, oh, yeah, I was kind of confused why I was playing as the princess. I'm like, well,
How do you balance your time with all these places that you run and everything? I'm sure it's, again, we're talking about when employees call in and you have to fill in, but I know you have a somewhat set schedule. And so how do you balance all that? And again, we were talking before the camera started that you had a trip to Italy, actually Europe, and you went all over by yourself. And then I think you came back for other trips or whatever, but how do you balance life and work now?
work hard, play hard,
Yeah.
Karaoke tonight.
The karaoke tonight. That's right. No, I mean, I can't say that that's something that I'm always the best at for sure, but I try, you just do it. You do what you got to do. Don't bite off more than you can handle,
Yeah.
But I also have a great support system. Like I said, I mean, I'm short staffed right now at the original Stir in the Kitchen. And so I've got my guy from downtown is going over there and helping out, working a couple
Wow.
shifts. And, because the kitchen's pretty interchangeable, but I'm working a shift. One of the other girls there is picking up a shift, just ask for help, I guess, is how you balance it. Ask for help when you can,
That's a great word of advice. And what would you give somebody who's just thinking about opening up a restaurant, maybe doesn't know Joe, or even a good mentor, or maybe that might be your piece of advice, but what piece of advice would you give to somebody who's really interested in opening up their own place, maybe downtown? What would be the first thing or first couple things that you would tell them?
Honesty. I'm just kidding. I said, don't do it. Just kidding. Do your research. I would definitely talk to a lot of people. I would go and I would talk to business owners and I would look at what you're trying to do and make sure that it's something that you think will work, because nobody wants to put their life savings into something and have it fail. It sucks. It's hard, but it's a hard industry. I mean, you're going to work a lot, especially the first year or two, When we first opened Stir, I bartended 5 days a week, and then managed on top of that. So that's part of it. So you got to go in with the reality that you're not always going to be able to rely on everybody, You're going to have to work a lot of hours, and it's a lot of work. It's doable, but it's a lot of work. I think that people kind of look at it like it's an easy job, I'm like, it's really not an easy job, but most aren't.
No one's going to work harder than an owner, right?
So, yep, it's true. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say that I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but sometimes I look at them if I would have known how hard it would have been, just looking back where I'm at right now, what I would have started. And I don't know, and I think that's part of the journey of being an entrepreneur. I don't think any entrepreneur would be like, okay, I think it's going to be this hard, but they really have no idea how
Yeah.
hard it's going to be. It can be cloud 9 1 month and then oh my gosh, I'm going to close up. Everything's ending. How am I going to tell these people?
Crying daily the next month.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have been here, especially, or been there. A lot of people that listen to the show, or a lot of people who are just dipping their toe in. I think it's really cool for them to understand that we've all been there, and it's not just like, hey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows where I just took off and this thing was just free sailing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ignorance tax that you have to pay, even when you have a really good partner like you have, right? It's just, I have a level of respect for anybody who's been doing any of the game of entrepreneurship for a long time, but especially those who've been in the restaurant industry for a long time, because it takes one hell of a personality and one hell of a grit to get through the things that you've done. So like, all the kudos to you and your team and everything that you do for this community, because we really look at it and we're so inspired by it. Just giving you a heads up.
I couldn't do it without them all,
Yeah. And there's a lot of good people there that work there too.
There is a lot of good people.
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very lucky
Yeah.
to have found some good ones,
Yeah. Well, before we land this plane, so this is your camera right here. Is there anything, is there anything you want to tell that camera where to find Stir, where to find Nova West, Supernova, anything like that?
Yeah, come down, guys. We got Shame and Regret, Cork and Cast, Bonnie and Reed, Rabbit Hole, Stir Coffee and Cocktails downtown, Supernova, Nova West, Hapke's Whoredom. What am I missing? Crooked Q coming soon. Tiki Bar. Did I say Tiki yet?
No.
I don't
Oh
think so,
God,
yeah.
there's a lot, guys. Usually I have a piece of paper in front of me.
Come see me, Amber. Yeah.
Come see me. And if you're looking for a job, just apply on one of our websites.
Yeah. Like if you
We're always hiring somebody.
if you live in Colorado Springs, there's really, unless you live under a rock, there's no way you haven't heard of any of those. Like,
So you've heard of at least half of them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, these are staples of our community. So thank you so much for being a part of it. It's been so awesome having you on this show. It's just such a great perspective for us. And I mean, we've been a fan of all of those places for a very long time. So
Thanks.
thank you again. Thank you for your team. And we'll see you guys on the next one.